Okay, so last night I got out an old affirmation deck. It's one that I had bought years ago. And so I pulled one at random and I just thought that I'd like to share that one with you. So it says, "It's okay for me to feel my emotions and let them move through me." So that's it there. And I think something that I noticed in myself, and I don't know whether this is because I was a people pleaser, whether this is because I was female, whether this was because I learnt service and hospitality and, all of that kind of stuff in a time where it was probably a little toxic in some ways, so is this my own toxic trait, or is this a sign of something that is ubiquitous within especially nursing profession, that we just kind of do and expect others to do and not realize it? And that's, like burying our emotions down. So like we can be doing a shift and go into one room and be treated absolutely horribly by the patient or their visitors or something like that. Someone can be completely abusive towards you and you just kind of have to sort of try and deal with it as best you can, but exit the room, keep yourself safe so it doesn't turn into a code black situation. But then before you go into the next room, you kind of have to push it aside, push it down, and then just go into the next room and act as if nothing happened, like a clear blank slate, and you just on with the next patient. And I think, it can be a way to protect yourself during the shift in the sense that you just put it aside and just get on with it. But then when you actually go from the workplace that day, you finished your shift, you go about the rest of your day or week or month or something, if you're not actually addressing that or in a healthy kind of manner, that I think you end up suppressing it and you end up keeping it within yourself somehow. And I feel like sometimes those are some of the things that, we might say would contribute to things like burnout and exhaustion, and definitely that kind of fatigue that comes with caring professions. And I'm definitely not saying that we should excuse it or accept it or anything like that, because abuse is wrong in every sense. Like it doesn't matter what the setting it is, abuse is 100% wrong. But there are also times where, it might not be abuse that are the emotions that we might be hanging on to. It might be that frustration of working with that particular coworker who likes things done in a specific way and will not let you do anything any other way, even though it's not their call. It might be the fact that you have been looking after a patient for a few days in a row and they've now passed away. For the palliative patients, it can be quite sad still, even though we know that that's what is happening. We know that their body is shutting down. We know that we are trying to help them be as comfortable as possible as they transition out of this physical existence and into whatever happens beyond this. And so then we might feel emotions attached to that time, even if we didn't know the person, or we might have even just met them that shift. But, that sort of moment of sadness, it kind of sticks with you. The terrified patients with dementia that are sometimes having a delirium as well, that are just so terrified because they don't have the capacity at that moment to understand where they are, what's going on, or anything like that, why they're even there. And so you're picking up on that fear. You're trying your best to be patient with them while also having a bunch of other folks that you are also responsible for looking after and supporting, your coworker and all of that. So you're being pulled in every direction. You also have that emotion, the emotions that come with feeling like no matter how much you do, it is never enough. Someone is always going to miss out on something, and it might be that you weren't able to help with that shower. You weren't able to do something that someone has asked. You might not have been able to answer the bell in a timely manner because you were already doing something for somebody else in another bed space. And so you can come home feeling just really shitty all the time. And that practice of letting those emotions, acknowledging them, because they do happen, you do feel them, they are definitely there, even if you want to pretend that they aren't. And then actually just letting them move through you. And that's where I know it can sound a little bit unscientific or, unsupported and well and truly woo-woo. I totally get that. But that's why I find the crystal healing really, really helpful, and looking at things from a frame of energy work, because I feel like being able to let those emotions go in a constructive manner with visualizing, with if you saw my crystal healing video, if not, go back and check it out, where you can see that I'm actually using crystals and moving my body along the outline there that I use as a proxy for distance healing sessions. You'll see that I'm actually physically moving it. So I'm talking about physically moving it. I'm physically moving it. I'm asking you to imagine it physically moving in order to be able to actually let those emotions pass through. Because if we're holding on to all of that sort of stuff, or we're sort of suffering twice, once when it's actually occurred and then the ongoing effects of those emotions. So if I can encourage you to try to acknowledge that you do have emotions. Emotions are okay, even if you have to put them aside for a little while until there's a more appropriate or convenient time to actually deal with them, but that you actually do acknowledge them and let them move through you instead of hanging on to them, so that you can live a nice, fulfilling, and just loving life. All right, thanks. Until next time. See you next time.